track Flight 666, The Final Flight, a complete 15-episode horror suspense story in English. Episode 1, Gate Number 13. It was 11:30 p.m. at Karachi International Airport. The night was unusually quiet. Rain softly tapped against the windows. A strange yellow glow filled the terminal as if time had slowed down. Corinne stood at Gate 13 with her boarding pass in hand. Flight number Flight 666. Departure time 11:59 p.m. But her watch showed 12:02 a.m. As she looked around, the other passengers appeared strangely still, like wax figures, silent, unmoving, emotionless. A child standing nearby suddenly screamed, "Mom, that man isn't walking. He's floating." His mother picked him up, embarrassed, but the child kept pointing toward an empty space. As passengers proceeded to board, an old woman muttered to herself, "This flight doesn't go forward, it returns." Corinne turned to ask the crew about her, but the reply was simple. There was no such woman. When Corinne looked again, the woman had vanished. Episode 2, The First Missing Passenger. 30 minutes after takeoff, a heavy silence fell across the cabin. Corinne looked behind her. The boy who sat at seat 1-4B was gone completely. Emily asked the flight crew, but they replied with an eerie smile. There was never anyone on that seat. Emily checked below the seat. An old, worn-out shoe lay there, a child's size. Henry, a former Navy pilot, mumbled, "This is no ordinary plane. It's flying the dead." Outside the window, a shadow was flying alongside the aircraft, wingless. Episode 3, Screaming Seats and Whispers. Corinne's seat began to sink slowly as if pulling her in. Suddenly, her seatbelt tightened on its own. Over the speakers, a raspy voice whispered, "Don't wake them. They'll see you." David looked out the window and saw a pale face. It was the boy from 1-4B. Blood streamed from his eyes. All seats began to creak and whimper. A suffocating aura swallowed the cabin. Episode 4, Frozen Time and Lost Phones. Emily pulled out her phone. The date said July 7, 1975. She asked David for his same date. Corinne looked at the cabin clocks. The crew's wristwatches all were frozen. Henry muttered, "We're not inside time. We're outside it." Episode 5, The Cockpit Secret. Henry knocked on the cockpit door. No response. Slowly, it creaked open. A dim red light bathed the inside. Captain Morgan's chair was empty, but in front of it sat a mirror. Henry stared into it. His reflection was dead. Black eyes, sewn lips. Episode 6, Red Light and Ash. The lights went out. Only a faint red bulb remained. A man in seat 17 stood and screamed. His body began shaking violently and then collapsed into a pile of ash. Emily whispered, "Is this real? Are we all going to die?" Episode 7, Moving Shadows. Shadows began to move across the cabin walls, human-like, but repeating the same actions as if stuck in a loop. David saw a shadow standing behind his seat, but when he turned, nothing was there. Episode 8, The Old Radio. A dusty, old radio switched on by itself. A distant voice spoke. "This is Flight 666. If anyone hears me, we're stuck in 1985. Help us." Emily said, "Is that a recording?" Henry replied, "No, that's us. From the future." Episode 9, Poison Sleep. Passengers started falling asleep, but their eyes were wide open. Faint whispers echoed in their ears. When Emily closed her eyes, she saw herself inside a coffin. Episode 10, Windows of Blood. The sky outside turned red. Heavy, blood-like liquid dripped from the windows. A child's voice whispered, "I fell down. Now it's your turn." Episode 11, Missing Souls. Only 9 passengers remained. The others had turned to ash. Their photos appeared on the seatback screens. All were declared missing between 1975 and 1999. Episode 12, The Death Announcement. The speaker crackled, "We are landing in hell. Please fasten your seat belts." Corinne looked outside, scorched earth, flaming faces, and screaming whines. Episode 13, The Threshold of Hell. The plane landed not on Earth, but on fire. Shadows with flaming eyes awaited. The cabin door opened. A voice whispered, "The way back is sealed." Episode 14, The Loop Begins Again. Suddenly, it all vanished. Corinne opened her eyes. She was back at Gate 30, same time, same flight. She looked at her boarding pass, bloodstained now. Episode 15, The Truth Revealed. Corinne read the boarding pass. Passenger number 23, declared dead July 7, 2005. David, Emily, Henry, all their files showed the same. They were passengers long lost. Flight 666 is not a journey. It's a trap for souls who refuse to accept death, the end, or a new beginning. Flight 666 is still flying, waiting for its next passenger.